El día de hoy te presento a una gran guitarrista de Chicago, pero que vive en Bruselas. Demos la bienvenida a Marisa Sardo, una maestra de las cuerdas.
I love to play music that metal people and rock and roll people love to hear and are inspired by, and popular music. If anything, you're going to push forward the left arm at times to get into certain positions, right? But the right arm should be pretty stable, I think, pretty much in position.
Hello, Marisa. Welcome to Cuerda y Colibrí.
Hello, thank you so much for having me.
Tell us, how did you start in the world of music, and who has inspired your journey in the guitar, please?
So I started when I was about 4 years old playing the classical guitar, and my dad was a guitarist too, so he started me off playing guitar, and then my parents moved me on to private lessons, and I continued my musical journey from there. I always knew that I was going to be a musician, so after starting from a young age, I continued into college and got my master's, and now I do it as a career. And as for inspirations, I have so many inspirations. It's really hard to name them all, but all of my mentors and teachers that I've ever had have been so incredibly inspiring to me. So Ann Waller from my undergraduate, and Elliot Fisk, Senor Diaz, my current teachers, Rafaela Smith and Andy Bonigoni, Adam Levin, and however, I have to mention that one of the greatest inspirations, one of the greatest mentors I've ever had was Oscar Guilla, who is to this day one of the greatest guitarists of all time, and I'm in such admiration of him, and he inspired me so much to be the musician I am today. And so I really think he is one of my greatest, if not my greatest inspiration.
Wow, great. And now, if it's possible, invite us to discover some of the techniques and styles you use to enhance your guitar playing, please.
So I love to play music and styles that are, of course, within the classical realm, but that also have a little bit of a twist, right? Because I think that classical music is and should be accessible to all kinds of people and all kinds of music lovers, too. It's not just exclusively for classical musicians. I think classical guitar can be really even rock and roll, as you heard the piece that I just played. It can be metal, and it can be accessible to anybody. And right now, my program is consisting of all women composers. The piece that you just heard me play was by a woman composer. Her name is Annette Krasbrink from the Netherlands. And that was the last movement from her piece, Homenaje a Segovia.
Oh, wow.
It's going to be one of the pieces that I'm playing on my upcoming world tours. And I think that it's important to bring a powerful feminine perspective to the world, because it's music that's different, that's not discovered quite as much yet, and that is, as you heard, very epic and very exciting, just as much as our traditional repertoire, if not even more in some cases. I'll play a short piece by Emilia Giuliani.
Okay, thank you. Great, great, awesome. In this piece, uh, you use maybe arpeggios, no?
Yes, yes.
Yes. If it's possible, you explaining for you the arpeggios, the exercise,
Oh, for
maybe.
sure. Yeah.
Yeah, please.
So some of the techniques that I like to play in my practices are absolutely arpeggios. So what I just played is a prime example of what's to do in the right hand for warming up and for practicing. It's one of our most common techniques. And I
Yeah,
think the trick to playing arpeggios
perfect.
is to plant, right? To
Mm-hmm.
plant the fingers, which means that you're placing all four fingers, all four playing fingers already on the strings instead of
Mm-hmm.
having them one at a time in the air like this, because that preparation, that plant, so thumb, index, middle, ring, immediately one after another when you are fully prepared, is going to help with the pattern and help to play faster. So as
Mm-hmm.
you heard, it was a very fast piece for the arpeggios. And so the trick is to do this planting. So to do this kind of plant instead of having the fingers one at a time in the air, something like that is going to slow you down. And it's not a good preparation, as opposed to all four
Mm-hmm.
fingers prepared. Already it feels and sounds much more natural too, to prepare it
Mm-hmm.
that way as well. So that's one of the examples of the techniques that I like to use when I'm practicing and when I'm warming up.
Okay. When you play the right hand, the fingers,
Mm-hmm.
is maybe what is the correct position when you have the right hand? Is this position or a little inclined? Because the nails, it's very important to
Yes.
play the guitar, no?
So I always tell my students that there's a placement in the arm that when
Yeah.
you relax your arm on the guitar, your hand is going to stay balanced. So if I place my arm too far back here towards the elbow on the guitar and I relax my arm, it
Yes.
opens, right? It's not in position. If I do it
Yeah.
by the wrist and I relax the arm, it's like
Yeah.
guitar. So somewhere in the middle of the forearm, when I relax the arm, it stays in position. All I have to do
Yeah.
is adjust the wrist a little bit. But I think that the trick in positioning is to be as natural and relaxed as possible without having to hold the guitar in place. You want
Mm-hmm.
to be able to be supported so that the guitar is in place and your hands are free. And
Mm-hmm.
even when you place your arms on the guitar, it's completely relaxed. There is a little bit of wrist adjustment needed. So I think a little bit of an inclination like this. I think doing it like this, where you have your fingers too kind of lined up vertically like this, is a little too uncomfortable, because again, if I relax my arm in this position, it opens. So I think
Mm-hmm.
you have to think about having the fingers pointing towards your left knee. And when your fingers are on the strings, in that case, that influences the shape of the nail as well. Like you're saying, we play kind of in the corner of the nail. And so having this position, a very relaxed and natural position, influences, how we're going to play the strings. And it makes a pretty comfortable and dynamic sound.
Yeah. And what type the support of guitar do you have?
So this is called the woodside guitar support, and I
Yeah.
really love it. It's similar to the Murata that I used for years, but I actually like this one better because I
Uh-huh.
love that it gives this particular angle with this angle block here, and I love that the rod is extended, because then it makes it really, really stable for me. As you can see, I don't
Yeah.
hold the guitar, right? It's just there in position, and I can
Is
still move around it, and it's very, very stable. So I
is
love this device. It's my favorite.
yeah, the guitar maybe is the same on the air.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Very, very light and free. Yeah, but it's called the
Yeah.
Woodside. You can see the logo right here,
Uh-huh.
Woodside guitar support. You can find it on Strings by Mail, and
Thank you for continuing on Cuerda y Colibri with our guest guitarist Marisa Sardo. And now I'd like you to share some interesting or funny stories you've experienced in your musical career, please.
I'm going to tell you a story that I think is very interesting, and I think is kind of funny too. This is my what if moment. So this is a moment in my life where I could have chosen a different path that would have completely influenced my life in a completely different way.
Mm-hmm.
So when I was in middle school,
Oh, wow.
I played both guitar and bassoon. I started playing the bassoon in middle school, and I continued throughout high school and throughout my secondary schooling, basically. And I was quite good at bassoon as well too. I was getting recognition, and I was winning competitions in bassoon, and I was placing in major state orchestras as well as principal bassoonist, and so on and so forth. And I absolutely loved playing the bassoon as well, too. I really loved being in an orchestra and playing as a soloist, and I was taking it as seriously as I was taking my guitar career. And so when I was about to go to college, I knew I wanted to be a musician. I knew I wanted to play music, but I wasn't sure which instrument I wanted to pursue, because the school that I applied to, they didn't allow basically to do 2 performance degrees. which I also agree with. I think that would have been too much to do, to standard performance degrees. So I
Uh-huh.
had to choose. And
Yeah.
I could not choose. I loved both instruments equally, and I was equally as accomplished in both instruments. So I
Yeah.
decided to prepare two separate auditions, one
Mhm.
whole set of music on guitar, one whole set of music on bassoon. So I was doing double the work, right? I wasn't sleeping,
Wow.
double the work because I was practicing two instruments very, very seriously to prepare
Wow.
for college auditions. And so
Yeah.
I applied to Northwestern University, where I did my undergraduate degree, and I basically sent in my auditions. I did my live auditions on both instruments, and I basically said I'm leaving it up to the university, to the conservatory. They're going to choose for me which instrument I'm going to be, but which instrument is going to be my career.
Yeah.
And so I remember I got my acceptance letter from Northwestern University, and I was super excited. It was my dream school. But on the letter, it only said that I was accepted into the Benin School of Music. It didn't say which instrument. So that same day that I got the acceptance letter, I called the university and the admissions of the Benin School of Music, and I asked them, which instrument, I'm so happy, thank you, which instrument did you accept me for? And they said
Yeah.
they accepted me for guitar.
Yeah.
And so then that determined my fate, that determined that I was going to be a guitarist. Fortunately, I was able to also continue with bassoon for a while. I did kind of a self-designed, double major in not exactly performance, but there was a lot of the bassoon credit that I was doing being in the orchestra and giving and having lessons was counting for that double major. And I was also a graduate minor in bassoon during my master's too. So I was able to continue bassoon, quite seriously too, but my career was going to be as a guitarist. And I think to myself, what if they had said bassoon? Then I would have been a bassoonist. It would have been a whole different, or at least my career would have been a bassoonist. And it would have
Mhm.
been a whole different idea, different world. So I think that's funny, to that my origin story really comes from
Yeah.
this moment where I decided I'm going to let you guys decide for me because I couldn't decide. I loved both instruments. And
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
still do. I still love them.
Okay, Marisa, right now, do you have any concerts or what is in the future your program or any concerts in your life?
Yes, I have a very, very busy schedule coming up actually because I have a world tour, which is very, very exciting.
Uh,
So first stop on my world tour is a few concerts in Belgium. And I'm really excited to be presenting this program of all women composers for the very first time at that concert, which I will then also present at the Conservatory of Brussels. So it's a very busy schedule, but I'm really
yeah,
excited to be presenting this really incredible program to all these different cultures around the world. This is my dream, right? To be traveling and performing and sharing my love of music with everybody. That's my dream.
yeah. When to Dallas, Texas? When?
Yeah. I'm working on it. I'm working on it. Stay
Yeah.
tuned.
It's good, it's good. And this moment, please share those final tips that will enrich our guitar skills. Thank you.
Well, but see, that is a very difficult question because there's a lot of really great advice that I've received and that I've
Yeah.
culminated over my
Mhm.
years being a guitarist and having this as a career. But I would say my big advice to aspiring musicians is that if you see yourself doing nothing else in life besides music, then you are meant to be a musician. Then it's the universe telling you that this is your career. Now,
Mhm.
granted, it's a lot of work that you have to put in, but you also have to be so passionate about it that
Mhm.
it's work, but it's what you love to do, that it is your life's purpose. You have to find something that becomes your life's purpose. And for me, that's with guitar and with music. And for many, many people that I know in this world, that is also true. But for aspiring young guitarists, you have to find what makes your life with purpose,
Mhm.
and how are you going to incorporate music in that life's purpose?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's very important when you think what instrument I like in right now, maybe in the future.
Hmm.
No, it's very important that question. Maybe in the school, the high school, and the university. But the music is hard study, no?
Yeah. Yes. Yes. It's a lot of work. It's hard to do. It's a very full and busy career and busy schedule. But if you can see yourself doing anything else but guitar, or but music in general, then this might be a little bit demanding. So I think that, for the people who truly find that music is their true passion, you have to really dedicate yourself to it. That's the whole point. Dedicate.
Yeah. And in your life, what another type of music do you like to play in the future? Maybe.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Well, I have a few album ideas coming up. So I'm going to be recording an album soon of all women composers. But
Yeah.
then I plan to be eventually in the future recording two other albums. One of all music by Fernando Sor, who is one of my favorite
Wow, it's
composers,
good.
and another
And
album of all music that is classical guitar music, but that is heavy metal inspired. So heavy
oh,
metal guitar, that's what the album is going to be.
oh wow, it's
Because
awesome.
I love metal. That's my genre. I'm a metalhead, and I love to incorporate these two genres in the classical guitar. I think it's
Oh yeah.
it's really unique to see, classical music and heavy metal come together in the classical guitar. And so I plan to do a program on that eventually.
Yeah, maybe the metal music is in the electrical guitar, no?
I don't
Yeah.
play electric guitar, but I mean that would be a cool idea. But I think actually what's even more different is having it on the classical guitar.
Yeah.
Classical guitar with heavy metal inspired music. I think that's pretty cool to see these two
Uh,
worlds, being brought together.
yeah, sounds good. Sounds good.
Yeah.
Okay, where can people find you on social networks or YouTube channel?
Yes, I'm
Please.
on all the social medias, so you can find me at Marisa Sardo Guitar
Uh-huh.
on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, TikTok. What other ones? LinkedIn. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Whatever, any other social, I can't even remember what I
Yeah.
have, but any other social media channels, you can find me at Marisa Sardo Guitar.
Okay, Marisa. And finally, can you to play the last song for us, please?
Absolutely. And speaking of heavy metal on the classical guitar, this is a piece again by a woman composer, and
Okay.
it's quite metal.
Yeah. Wow. Thank you very much, Marisa, for sharing your valuable knowledge with us. And we look forward to seeing you on another occasion.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.